The Fantasy Footballer Studio is brought to you by Amazon Prime. Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Oh, welcome in.
Oh, it's playoff time.
Ah! It's beautiful stuff, Mike. Beautiful. It's playoff time. It's Christmas time.
We're having so much fun.
We want gifts from one and all, mostly those in our starting lineups. Happy to be with you. Week 15 preview. Matchups today. Starts of the week.
And it's really here. This is like football tonight is for the playoffs. It's actually happening.
Yeah, we're here.
Come on, Isaac Garindo.
There's lots of lots of really big decisions to make. I think Jason spent a decent portion of yesterday analyzing and reanalyzing and reacting to new injuries and doing silent laps around the studio and you know, saying things like, I don't even want to win because we don't want to know what Al Borland would be like if he loses in a matchup where it's worse, Al, for you this week that you're so favored, right? Like you can't.
I'm definitely stressing more than Jason is.
You can't lose, Al. That's what we're saying. Is that you can't lose, and so I just want to congratulate you on your playoff
All
victory.
right, we're doing it.
Do not accept.
We're doing it. Oh boy, this is Yeah, I mean, and Jason will say all that, and then if he loses, he will be pissed.
I know.
You will be very
for
sad and upset. And I am just, I got nothing to do this week, so I'll just watch your guys' matchup.
We mentioned the third head of the Hydra here, but just so people get a closer look into the League of Record, I'm looking at our projections.
There he is. There's Jason.
Looking
up on
at
the
the
screen.
projections. Andy's on the bye week.
Yeah.
But should he have been playing right now, his line is projected for 135.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The other bye week is projected at 122 this week.
Yeah.
They're not playing, but they are there.
Yeah.
Then then there's another playoff matchup, 131 to 133.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
And then there's Jason v. Owl.
What's Owl projected
He's projected at 130, so right in line with all the
everybody
other playoff
else.
teams.
Yeah.
And then there's the 103.
103, baby.
Projections.
103.
Projections are not everything, but that is very funny to look at.
Yeah.
That is King Ghidorah, by the way.
Oh.
That's the Hydra. King Ghidorah.
King Ghidorah
King Ghidorah. Yeah.
from
The
first
Explorer?
appeared in 1964. Ghidorah, the three-headed monster. That's who that is. Yeah.
Okay.
what?
I was informed of this over 1 million times yesterday after we disgraced him by calling him a three-headed hydra and all these other names.
But it looks like a Hydra.
I don't know exactly what a hydra.
Well, Hydra's from Greek
Isn't
mythology.
a hydra a snake though?
No, Hydra's the multi-headed thing, and if you cut off a head, it grows two more.
It's a 9-headed serpent though. A hydra in Greek mythology is
nine.
Is 9 heads.
Oh, I apologize.
King Ghidorah's got 3 heads.
Oh, well, I stand corrected.
And then one of them is
One of them is
one
me.
of them's projected for 103.
One of them is, starting Kendre Miller and Jaleel McLaughlin. So
I will remember you. Okay. Thanks for joining us. It's going to be a long show. I'm going to tell you that right here at the top. We don't have bye weeks. We got a lot of matchups to get into and news and just a lot of good stuff. And the Parlay Partay. Mike's on a hot streak.
Yes, sir.
So, some crowns will be distributed today. The Ultimate Dashboard, bonus
neck's
weekly
getting a little
episodes. Yeah, from wearing the crown?
Yeah, it's heavy.
Okay. Jointhefoot.com for the Ultimate Dashboard. Websites, thefantasyfootballers.com, all the articles. The Start Sit tool, which should be, I think that'll be used a lot this week. And you can find us on X at the FF Ballers. Let's jump into the news.
News and notes from around the league. Presented by USAA Insurance.
No, I didn't. I didn't intentionally forget that, Al. It was so strategic. You don't know my ways of hosting. I like to wait until I hit the news drop.
Well, this is
This
news.
is big news.
This is NFL news.
Thank you, guys. We are hiring. We are looking for another spectacular front-end web developer, particularly somebody familiar with application development, React Native. And you can see all of the details of our new job opening at thefantasyfootballers.com/careers.
I will tell you, if those words Andy said just a minute ago don't make sense to you, the job's probably not for you.
Right.
Please don't apply with
Because those words mean nothing to me.
JavaScript, React, Git, if those there speak to your soul,
Yeah.
okay, that's the entry to be able to take a look at opening the door. To be fair, like we aren't looking for an average, someone dabbling, someone that's they've been doing it for a year.
That's got enough average back there in Deuce's Alley.
Right. Our developers are awesome.
Yeah, they're to be fair, not on camera talent. You know what I mean? They're off camera. They're building the apps. We have an awesome team. We got, just so people know, we got 10 full-time members here in the studios in Phoenix. The job is for here in Phoenix as well, so you need to be willing to relocate. And then we have some full-timers out of state in other positions. But thefantasyfootballers.com/careers to get all of the details on the front-end developer position. We're adding another developer to the team. We're very committed to the UDK app, the in-season app, which just released this year with all the Join the Foot tools, and further developing those and making them best as possible for the team. And so we'd love it if you knew the show and you love fantasy football, but you also have skills that line up with this position. And as much as I respect all of the people that want to do the hustle thing and say, like, I don't have experience in this area, but you should want me.
Please don't make us read your submission.
We don't want you. I mean,
we love you. Hey, listen.
We don't actually want you.
The next time that we open up a job opening for a deucer, all can apply. I mean, you don't have to be able to read or write. You don't have to be able to control your bowels. Anyone can apply for Deucer's Alley.
I mean, there's an empty chair right now, and we didn't want that.
Now,
that's just a dude that didn't show up.
Right now, we are not hiring for a deucer.
No.
We're chock full. We're overflowing. We have too many. Like
dime a dozen.
Half a person could do this job. But we are looking for an expert at
You're really burying the lead, Jay, here. You're
sorry.
flooding the zone right now.
And you'll be paid way better than the Deucers. Yeah, this developer position. So
you know how to do those things, and step 2, be cool, man.
Yeah, be cool. But no, we're excited to add to the team. And there you go. thefantasyfootballers.com/careers.
A dream job.
Yeah, it'll be a good time. This is year 10, you know what I mean? Onward and upward. All right. I hit the news button because we're going to talk football news as well. Isaac Guerrero listed as questionable, plans to play. That's via Adam Schefter.
Okay.
There's going to be a lot of questions out there. I know Mike and I's team, it's like, well, so do you play him? Can you start him?
I saw somebody say this one. Do you play Guerrero tonight, or do you wait and see if Bucky Irving's good for Sunday? My advice on that.
I'd go Guerrero there.
My
Easily.
position is Isaac Guerrero tonight. Get the extra intel for your playoff weekend. Don't dance with the devil on Sunday morning. And Guerrero was awesome last week. And he said, you want to put the pieces together here. You were never going to get good information on Guerrero's availability until now because it's a short week. But that is also a testimony to the fact that he's probably all right. If it's a short week and he's available and he said he's fine and he said it was precautionary and we've got sources telling us it's not one of the newcomers, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've been trying to do everything we can to have a good intel. But Guerrero, we don't have specifics on what the foot injury is. And I see that as a good thing. It's kind of like Andy just said. The fact that he played football a couple days ago and is going to be active in this game means that I don't think he's got a massive injury. Now, there is risk. A re-injury can happen. That happens with feet. So this isn't like, if you've got another great option, I would, start them. But we're going to start Guerrero in our league, and we're going to make the choice of starting him in the flex over either Zay Flowers or Travis Kelce, one of those two. He's above both of those.
He's also this is the elimination of Patrick Taylor that we're having this conversation.
Yeah. Well, step one is everything we're reporting right now is expected to play. George Pickens was expected to play. They were going to warm him up and find out, and then he did not play. So don't just put him in your lineup right now and then check out for the rest of the day is step one. And it's also I'm trying to find like the line of my rankings because it's hard to rank Garindo right now because I don't know 100% that he's going to be active, and I don't want to blow up my rankings here of like, oh, this guy's going to play, he's going to be whatever. But it's like trying to find the line right now.
Is the line –
I think the line –
is it Rico Dowdle? Is that the line at Carolina?
That one's –
Is James Cook at Detroit the line?
James Cook was the name that I kept going down to. It's like Alvin Kamara. It hasn't been great, and he has a backup quarterback. I'm still probably going to play him. Aaron Jones against Chicago. I think he's okay. And then Charbonnet, I'm presuming that Walker is going to be out, which that's a tough call right now. And then it's James Cook against Detroit, and I think I would risk the upside for Garindo over James Cook.
Yeah, that's because of the nature of some of the question marks. I got him at 20 on the week.
Yeah, that's fair.
I have him at 18.
Yeah, so I think Garindo is very, very in play. You don't want to miss out on a matchup like this with a team that's favored at home because you're overthinking what ifs. I mean, you need to win, right? And you play to win. And so, if I was the Garindo manager that spent all my fab on Patrick Taylor, I'm happy today.
Yeah.
I don't want a less talented player to get the start in San Francisco with some backups. I want the guy that performed last week, that caught the football, that got into the end zone. Let's go.
Yeah, and if for some reason Garindo is not able to go, he's inactive, he warms up, and it pops up again, and they decide to sit him down. Reading some of the quotes from Shanahan and the beat reporters and everything that we can dig up, it should be Patrick Taylor, not Izzy. They're getting Izzy up to speed, but I don't think he is going to be the guy like we possibly speculated.
Yeah, and exactly. So George Pickens did not practice on Wednesday.
He's not going to play.
Alexander Mattison will probably be active, but Antonio Pierce said that not just Sincere McCormick, like he sincerely was convicted that Sincere McCormick's a starting guy, and that last week Madison kind of could have been active. They said that it was just a numbers game, so it was a choice. And McCormick is a good play. It's Monday Night Football.
It makes no sense at this point in the season where the Raiders are to not play Sincere McCormick.
And Pierce is also fighting for his opportunity to stay the head coach. I don't think he stays the head coach.
No.
I believe what happens is the Raiders will end up with Shedeur Sanders, and they will hire a new coach. And I don't know, I'm not going to say it's Dion, but
that'd be fun.
But Dion's going to want Sanders in Las Vegas, and it's going to be a new head coach that probably
Dion likes
on the side. And there was a report yesterday that the Giants, it's going to be Cam Ward. It's going to be Cam Ward and a new head coach for the Giants. So we'll see. We'll see how that pans out. But the Giants are a place that Dion does not want Shedeur Sanders to go. And that's where we're going to be. It's going to be a fun March and April.
The draft season with Sanders.
Yes, with Travis Hunter. And
everything surrounding, because Dion will, like, if it sets up that it is like the Giants, it will be a full Eli Manning to the Chargers situation. We haven't had one for quite a while, but
Eli
Dion's not going to take no crap. He's going to say, we're going to go exactly where we want our family and my son to go play, and where he wants to go play. Oh,
Dion's going to get what he wants.
Yeah, he is.
Bucky Irving, Mike Evans did not practice on Wednesday. This is not unexpected. This has kind of been a routine. We need to really monitor Irving.
Bucky's
Evans
scarier.
Evans is the maintenance day. They've been doing this.
Yeah, Bucky I am very concerned with. He's very, very banged up. Obviously only played a little bit of the last game and then got sat down.
Let's fast forward. Let's say he's active because I think he will be.
If he's active,
that's where I want to get to.
Sure.
What are you doing?
He is a flex level start to me. He's much scarier.
That's the Chargers, right?
Yeah, it's not a great matchup. So, if I had I would start Tyrone Tracy over him.
Wow.
So
against Baltimore?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
I mean, didn't Tyrone Tracy have like a cajillion targets last week?
He's a good volume play, but the line for the Giants, their implied team total is about 5
I know
points.
that. I don't see a lot of touchdowns in the. Yeah, he had 10 targets last week.
Yeah, I'd go Bucky.
16 rushing attempts.
10 targets. Yeah, but they're changing quarterbacks.
That's true.
That's another piece of the news here. Drew Lock is out, and they're going back to
Cutlets.
Tommy Cutlets.
What could go right?
Yeah, what could go right? Well, what's going right is they're going to have the
Secure the package.
probably the number 1 pick in the draft. Lad McConkey returned to a limited practice on Wednesday.
Yay, we love you.
They need him.
Oh, my little lad.
Romeo Doubs practicing in full, still in the protocol. Kenneth Walker did not practice on Wednesday. The Kenneth Walker situation is so sketch, it hurts.
The diving into it yesterday, the news and the quotes coming out on Kenneth Walker are more of a he'll be back. I think the quote was sooner than later. So it may not be this week, but this isn't Ken Bone is getting shut down. It's if he doesn't play this week, we should expect him back the next.
Which is super cool news for all the teams eliminated without him this week.
I know.
Right?
It's unfortunate.
It's super cool news for all the teams with Charbonnet.
Yes. Charbonnet will be
It's a glass
strong
half
play.
full of Charbonnet. Yeah.
Hey-oh.
Chris Olave, concussion, unlikely to return this week. All options are on the table as whether he returns this year. There is no upside to bringing him back, in my opinion.
And having him play with either Spencer Rattler or Jake Haynes.
If he
Heinous.
Isn't that the name we gave him yesterday?
Oh, okay.
Kyle gave him.
Chris Olave.
It's part of me that thought that you thought that was his real name.
Oh, that's sad.
If Olave watches the game this weekend, I think his symptoms are going to flare up.
Noah Brown out multiple weeks with the Commanders. That is a kidney injury he suffered.
Could be season
Could
ending.
be season ending. They signed KJ Osborne, who was just waived by the Patriots, as a depth piece. We'll talk about that game today. That was today's news and notes presented by USAA Insurance. Learn more at usaa.com/insurance. Let's take a break, and then we will jump right in.
Starts of the week.
All right, starts of the week for Week 15, and who wants to begin? Do we
I'll
have,
do it
do we have any
because-
volunteers?
Yeah, hold on. I'm
Oh, boy.
Steel underpants.
Kyler Murray against the New England Patriots.
You need steel underpants for this one?
Yeah, that,
Yes,
that
you
almost
do.
makes the recommendation worse right there.
I'm saying you do because it's been so rough. Like Kyler Murray is been pushed. He has pushed fantasy players to the point that we now look at Kyler Murray as a fringe starting quarterback in a single quarterback league. And I am here saying I think that he is a fine top 12 play this week. I'm not saying I'm playing him over everybody.
If you didn't do it, I was going to do it. I mean, I think Kyler's a great
Okay,
start.
perfect.
I'm playing Kyler over Baker Mayfield in our dynasty playoffs.
That's a perfect example.
I mean, that's happening. Like, it's unquestionable at home.
They're favored by 6 points.
Off a bad week, he tends to respond.
Yeah, it's a plus matchup here. Over the last 6 weeks, the Patriots are 30th in schedule-adjusted points. So this is not on the season. This is a trend that is currently happening. The Patriots defense, they're giving up points to the quarterback position. So I think Kyler is a good play, and it's hard to say that right now.
I'm sticking with Justin Herbert.
I thought you were going to pivot.
I'm not going to pivot. I have Herbert
Thank you.
with Lad McConkey on the way back. Tampa Bay, 31st in schedule adjusted. We talked about it on the streamers part of Tuesday's show. He's been a top 12 quarterback in each of his last 4 starts at home, and getting Lad back is fundamental. They don't have the running game that they had earlier in the year, and it's a Herbert world.
Yeah, I mean, targeting against Tampa Bay is usually a successful recipe. For my start of the week, I'm going with Tua Tagovailoa. I'm going with the quarterback 1 in total fantasy points scored over the last month. He's been on fire, 4 straight top 10 performances. He's number 1 in the NFL in EPA per pass attempt. I mean, since he came back, the Dolphins are, playing some really, really good offense. You can't run effectively on the Texans very easily, so I expect a lot of passing volume. They're in a dome. There's no weather constraints. And Tua, I mean, if you've been playing him, he's helped you get to the playoffs. I think this matchup, there's a lot of – this is the 3rd highest over-under on the week, so it's a game you could target. I think he's a good play this week.
All right, at the running back position, I'm going with Rico Dowdle. That's what I was saying. I think Rico versus Guerrero is tough. He gets the matchup against the Carolina Panthers. Unfortunately, we didn't get the Saquon magic that we had previously hoped for coming into this matchup against the Panthers. They are playing better, but I still think that the shift over to Rico being the full-time guy, since they said that, he's averaging nearly 100 yards per game, 19 opportunities since week 9. He's been a top 12 running back since that time in week 9. The matchup is great. I'm not moving away from him. I was the Rico guy, but it's wild to be here in the playoffs of Rico's here. He's here to save your team.
Start
if you're
of
out
the
of running
week
backs.
in playoffs, and you don't even need steel underpants.
No, I
to
do
say
not.
it. I'm so happy for you, Mike.
Thank you.
I'm going with Rachaad White on the other side of that Los Angeles Chargers game. He's been so consistent since week 7, the RB10, averaging 15.7 fantasy points per game. And, Bucky's banged up. So
is this a non-flow chart? This is Rachaad White no matter what?
Certainly.
Okay.
Yeah, this is Mr. White at the Charger Stadium with a good game. And, the Chargers, they're a good rush defense, but that's not what makes White special. White is inefficient on the ground most of the time anyways. He's a pass-catching running back, and the Chargers have allowed the 8th most receptions to running backs. It's Rachaad White.
Yeah, I love Rachaad White this week. He's a must-start. I can't see him finishing outside of the top 10. My start of the week at running back is Tony Pollard getting to face Cincinnati. He was given a day of rest. I presume he will be playing this week, thus the start of the week, but we'll monitor his health. But he's been, even though the Titans are trending towards the top 5 pick, he's been so good and so consistent.
He has.
Remains one of only 3 running backs to average 20-plus opportunities a game and 3 receptions per game. That's Tony Pollard, Alvin Kamara, and Bijan. That's the level of opportunities he's getting, and he gets to face Cincinnati, who was just torn up by your start of the week, Rico Dowdle, on Monday Night Football. They are dead last in schedule-adjusted fantasy points over the last month. They're 30th in EPA per rush attempt on the season. Opponents are seeing 29-plus combined rush attempts per game. So Pollard has a just great wheels-up matchup this week.
I do want to say that today's practice report, just please pay attention to it, because Pollard did not practice yesterday.
Yeah,
he's been doing that basically all year.
I know that at the end of the game we saw some Tajay Spears. I'm sure he's fine. Just throwing it out there. You probably already said it.
Wide receiver, Juwan Justin Jefferson Jennings, a.k.a. Juwan Jennings. Look, it's scary to have a Thursday night start of the week because it kicks things off. It's right in front of everybody's eyeballs. But this dude he's getting these nicknames for a reason. This guy needs absolute respect. Targeted on 27% of his routes this year. That is an unbelievable number. The only wide receivers with better yards per route run, Puka, Nico, A.J. Brown. That's the end of list. Juwan Jennings he is a top-tier wide receiver right now, and you need to accept that that's what's happening. Plus, you get the matchup with the Rams. Last week, it was absolute domination by the Buffalo Bills offense. Over the last 6 weeks, Rams are 30th against wide receivers. This was the team Jennings had the breakout campaign against in week 3, 11 for 175 and 3. He's a really, really strong start.
I am doubling up. My wide receiver start of the week is once again Darnell Mooney, this time against Las Vegas on Monday night. It was a home run last week, over 100 yards, been playing great. And, he was 6 for 142. He had a great game. He's leading the team in yardage ahead of Drake London, and he's just creating great separation. The Las Vegas matchup, this is a get-right game for the Falcons, who desperately need it, and the Raiders have seen the second most pass plays called against them in the NFL. This is a perfect situation for you to have the confidence in Mooney over some of those other options you're not confident in.
Yeah, I mean, you had him last week. It was scary to me with what we saw with Kirk, and he was great. For my wide receiver, I'm going with last year's my guy, a guy we talked up a little bit on Monday's Ready to Roll because he was an absolute bust 3 weeks into the season. Jordan Addison, who since week 4 has been a wide receiver 1 in fantasy, averaging 13.8 fantasy points per game. The Chicago matchup on the course of the season looks pretty tough, but they are giving up big plays and doing it a lot more recently. They now rank dead last in explosive play rate of 15-yard plus plays allowed. Also, we saw this matchup just a couple weeks ago in Week 12 against the Bears. Addison went off. He was 8 for 162 and 1. I think he might have been the wide receiver 1 that week. This is that matchup where you've got Jalen Johnson, a great corner. You know where he's going to be focused. He's going to be focused on Justin Jefferson. That, I think, is why when we saw this matchup last time, Jordan Addison was able to get free. So Jordan Addison, I'm gonna stay in the flames that he's been on.
And for the tight end position, trying to find, if you don't have a locked-in starter, a potential option here. I'm going with Pat Freiermuth. The Muth has been getting loose lately. Last week, 3 for 48, 6 for 68, and the touchdown. Since week 9, he's been averaging 4 for 40. So you should get something out of Freiermuth. And the fact that George Pickens is trending to be out, the pass catching weapons for the Pittsburgh Steelers are not scary to anybody, and that's what I think where we've seen the Muth been getting more involved here over the last month. The Eagles are 29th in schedule adjusted points to the tight end, so the matchup is there, and with Pickens out, I think that the Muth is a viable play.
All right, I am going to give you the Hawkinson recommendation start of the week for Week 15 against Chicago. Hawkinson was not part of the action last week. He had been on a red light, green light situation, averaging 4.5 and 50 since returning, but it's not been – he hasn't gotten into the end zone, and he's had trouble giving you consistency, so I want to give you that confidence boost this week against the Chicago defense that is pretty bad against the tight end position. He is our consensus tight end 5. You've probably got other options, like the Hawkinson managers have been – they were waiting on him. They probably have a couple choices. I think it's going to be good for Hawkinson this week.
Yeah, it could be. I'm going to go with a type of pick. Let's just say you're in the fantasy playoffs. And
you need underpants?
Yeah, sure. Just steal.
What? Just steal?
Just steal.
Okay. Got to be handy with the steal, Jay.
Steel underpants.
Yeah, so if you're in the playoffs and, I don't know, like practice reports come up and they're like, what? David Njoku's got a hamstring injury?
Wait, why was that not in the news?
Yeah, that should have definitely been in the news. David Njoku has popped up with a hamstring injury.
Oh, my gosh.
It is
Sorry, everybody.
seemingly, I mean, it's dicey. It is dicey whether he plays this week or not. I can't wait for the practice report today. Please be a limited participant. Please be out there. Don't be not practicing today, please. But for those players like myself who might find themselves needing to grab someone to start off of the waivers, Zach Ertz would be probably the first name I'm looking for against New Orleans. They're coming off the bye. He's a big part of this offense. Touchdowns in 3 straight games. His target share over the last month actually increased from 20% to 23%. They've lost Noah Brown. The Commanders are 7.5-point road favorites in New Orleans. It's a good matchup for tight ends. So, like, if you're out there scouring for a start off the waivers, that's where I'm pointing his direction.
I'm surprised.
You could do a lot worse.
Yeah, I agree. Ertz is a good play. I'm surprised that Jason, with your hero ball mentality, that you're not just like, Jordan Akins, baby. We ride with Jameis.
Yeah, I mean, Jordan Akins could be a very good glory play. To be fair, personally, I'm not picking up Zach Ertz to play. Just simply because my opponent, who is a massive
Jaden Daniels,
he's got Jaden Daniels, and I'm a massive underdog, so I can't catch up with Zach Ertz. But I do think he's got a high enough floor where most people on waivers have a floor of 0.
There's a bunch of weird waiver wire tight ends hanging out there right now, like the Calcaterras of the world. You saw Bellinger with 7 targets. I'm not going there. But Juwan Johnson, There, Isaiah Likely on a lot of waiver wires. You never know what's going to happen there. There's some dart throws out there,
Yeah.
but Ertz is a high target dart throw.
Exactly. He's the only one I know is going to have 6 targets.
Yeah. No, I agree. I did like Calcaterra's 91% of snaps, and when you look at that game where he did score, and they only threw for 108 yards, something stupid. There's a world where he becomes interesting as well. So,
For sure.
All right, into the forecast we go.
It's time for Fantasy Forecast, presented by DraftKings Sportsbook.
All right, no more bye weeks. We'll start with Kansas City, the 12-1, super talented, best team ever, historical superstars, the Chiefs, taking on the 3-10 Cleveland Browns. The game's in Cleveland. Kansas City 4-point favorites. The over/under is 44. It's just been a weird year.
Yep.
They're a good team. They don't feel like a 12-1 team. They've won their last 3 games by 3, 2, and 2. Before that, they lost and then won by 2. So their last 4 wins have been tight. And they've also scored 16, 19, and 19 in 3 of those games. So
gross.
From an offensive perspective, what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing with Kelsey's been disappointing for 4 straight games outside the top 12. Hopkins and Juju and Worthy and it just hasn't added up to big production for anybody.
No, I think the passing game for the Chiefs is a little bit worrisome. You're pretty much dealing with flex level options. If you want to start Hopkins, that's fine. He's usually good for that 10-point baseline, but I don't think you've got anyone here in the passing game that can explode for a monstrous game. Kelsey, super disappointing, but you're not going to bench him. He's got the ability to score a touchdown. He could have 10 targets any game. The Cleveland Browns defense isn't particularly great against tight end. Really, from the
Chiefs
Chiefs side of the ball.
It's weird that he makes you nervous now, though. I have Zach Ertz. I'm not playing Ertz over Kelsey, but there's part of me that's in the back of my head is just he's going to have a better game.
Yeah. The only Chief that I think is seemingly a good play is actually Isaiah Pacheco. He seems like he has gotten the role back. He had 18 opportunities last game. Kareem Hunt kind of evaporated. He wasn't great for fantasy by any means last week, but I think the transition, it was the 3-week transition. First week he did very little. Last week it seemed like he took over, and now I expect him to really get the lion's share of the role that he started the season with.
Okay. On the other side, Cleveland, Jameis Winston. We got the news yesterday that David Njoku is in jeopardy of missing this game, a hamstring injury against the Steelers, did not practice, had been averaging almost 10 targets a game with Jameis.
Yeah, it was nice.
Consolidation of targets may go. I mean, Judy's obviously in his receiving line 70 yards, but Elijah Moore seems more relevant, especially he's a short area target guy. Cedric Tillman, if he's back from the concussion, would be in play.
He was limited on Wednesday with the amount of time he's missed. It's a trend in the right direction.
Yeah, I heard some reporting that they believe he's going to pass protocol. Cedric Tillman would be right back into my lineup. I think he's a good play this week. You can't really run on the Chiefs. On the course of the season, schedule adjusted, they are the number 1. They give up the fewest points to running backs in fantasy football. So you're going to have Jameis airing it out. Judy is obviously a lock in, but Tillman, I wouldn't be scared or hesitate.
Mike, are you confident in Winston as a top 12 guy this week?
Confident that's tough. I mean,
we need it right now. We need confidence.
He's been top 12. Well, he's Jameis Winston, man. There's only so far I could push the chips. But he has been top 12 of 3 of the last 4 starts. So I think, yes, I think that he is worth the risk in this matchup. And to me, it's the wide receivers. It would be fun if Jordan Akins can get involved. But honestly, if Njoku is out, the 10 targets, that's so much opportunity to spread between Judy Tillman and Elijah Moore. And Judy's DK line is at 70.5. receiving yards right now. Like Judy is,
Judy's
locked in.
Play Winston over Mahomes.
Oh, I would definitely play Winston over Mahomes.
11% of the time.
Yeah.
In his last 17 games, Patrick Mahomes has been a fantasy relevant quarterback. He is top 12 just once in the last month. Your upside is so much higher with Winston.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I will say this, since I made the decision to put in Winston over Baker, which I don't know, would you play Winston over Baker?
Yes.
I would.
Would it change your opinion to know that it looks like this game is going to have some rain, 15-mile-an-hour winds with gusts up to 25 miles an hour?
I do not.
In Cleveland? Because Cleveland bad weather gets gross.
I don't.
It's amazing what you were able to do with your voice for that word.
Yeah, well, I was
acting.
trying to make gross.
It was like the weather.
I don't care about I'm paying attention to the forecast, obviously, but so much changes between now and Sunday. So, have a pivot option, but you could be fine on Sunday in that game. They get it wrong a lot.
Yeah, currently not worried.
Cincinnati is 5-8. The Titans are 3-10. Cincinnati is working on running the table to try to get themselves a spot in the playoffs where they could do some work there. Tennessee is 3-10.
So awesome, wouldn't it? Like if Cincy actually made the playoffs with the bad start they had, wouldn't that be like?
It'd be fun.
I feel like everyone would be rooting for.
It's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. The best they could do is 9-8, but they have Tennessee, then they have Cleveland, then they have Denver at home. And then they finish against a Pittsburgh team that could be sitting guys in Week 18. That'll be a weird one because if Pittsburgh's spot is locked up, but they could keep a division mate out of the playoffs, what do? Cincinnati has got it right in front of them. Tennessee is not likely to stand in their way. The over-under is 46. Cincinnati 5-point road favorites. And, you have to – for this game to be competitive, Will Levis has to play professional football.
That's bad to hear.
Yeah, it's just a tough ask of Will Levis. Now, Ridley's line is 67.5 yards, so you could play Ridley and you can acknowledge the fact that the Bengals defense, while improving, is not a very good one. Tony Pollard is Jason's start of the week, assuming he's out there and healthy, which it seems like he will be. End of the list for Tennessee. Those two players?
You're not putting Nick Westbrook-Akine in there?
I don't even know who that is.
Okay.
Is he? Does he play for them?
He does. Someone once told me he's out there on every single snap.
I don't remember the name.
Oh, I see what happened, guys. He was 100% of the snaps in Week 13. Talk about Westbrook-Akine. He was down to 94% against Jacksonville. That's those 6%. They cost him.
So would you play him or McLaughlin?
Westbrook-Akine or McLaughlin?
Yeah.
Boy, this is a real counseling session for Mr. Moore today.
It's tough in the streets, my man.
There are people that might be eating. Like they could be listening to this on their lunch break, Jason.
I'm
said something like that? It's shameful.
He's been smoking a lot.
But answer the question.
Yeah, it would be McLaughlin. Joe Burrow, yes. Chase Brown, of course. Jamar Chase, forever and always. And then T. Higgins, coming off his first dud game, don't worry about it. Put him out there. That's easy. Cincinnati is really
wonderful
on offense. And to be honest, a lot of that has been unlocked due to Chase Brown being a viable, talented, every down running back. And we didn't have that at the beginning of the year. They tried the Moss experiment. But Chase Brown, he's awesome.
He's been dominating and looking the part. Like it's not just opportunity. He is so fast and capable. It's been a breath of fresh air.
The Washington Commanders at 8-5 take on the New Orleans Saints, who are 5-8. We don't even know if it's Spencer Rattler or Jake Haynes.
They don't even know.
Oh man,
the DraftKings
the advantage.
I don't think it's an advantage. I think they literally haven't made a decision.
No, they're splitting reps. DraftKings has the Washington Commanders 7.5-point favorites. The over/under is 43.5. That gives New Orleans just 18 points.
That's kind.
The Commanders should do real work in this game, almost to the point where, because defensively, I think it's going to be so easy on them. that I do worry a little bit about the high-end upside of the offensive pieces, but it doesn't affect your start-sit decision.
No. Brian Robinson is awesome. Terry McLaurin is unsittable. Jaden Daniels, even if look, to get a giant lead, you score touchdowns. He's going to be running the ball plenty, and he's been great at throwing touchdowns, rushing touchdowns. I think it's very easy on this side of the ball. You're going to start those studs.
Yeah, and so that leads me to this question, which there are people who need nasty boys out there. Let me find my little button. Brian Robinson, did we say the line? His rushing line's at 74.5. That's fantastic. Sweet. What do you do about Chris Rodriguez Jr.?
He's talented. He's a good player. He had 13 carries. He had 94 yards. He could be salting the game away.
Exactly. That's why do we feel like he is?
I think he's in the McLaughlin category.
I think he is viable as well.
Yeah. I think Chris Rodriguez Jr. is a potentially very sneaky touchdown threat.
Like it can be dangerous to.
I mean, would you have started Eckler in this game? Let me ask you that.
Oh, yeah.
So, the production from Rodriguez was on a level where they want to manage the running back room.
Projecting game script, projecting the game script out, and then looking at this running back could get in because they're the backup, and the game could be out of hand. That it can be a dangerous line of thinking, but I think in this particular matchup, especially with the Saints being just awful against running backs on the season, dead last if you adjust for schedule, I think he's in play.
All right, and McLaurin, by the way, his consistency rating, which this is a world that you didn't ever expect, but he's an A.
Unbelievable.
He's at 70% of his games exceeding 10.5 fantasy points. He is like a machine this year. And if you look at his chart on the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, it is green all over the place. Wide receiver 4 last time he started. Wide receiver 6. I mean, it's awesome. Congratulations, Terry.
Yeah, it's one of the better stories of this season is Terry McLaurin finally coming through. It's like DJ Moore last year, where it's like, dude, we are so freaking sick of this player being a great talent, a really good wide receiver, and teams just destroying their career with their horrifically bad choices. And look what happened. Look what happened to Terry.
Been so good.
Kamara, of course, you play him, but Kendre Miller, only 26% of snaps. You still need to keep your eyes on him, but I wouldn't be starting him personally.
Yeah, if you can avoid. So, let me ask you this: would you rather start Kendre Miller or Chris Rodriguez in this same game? Because you still have Jeremy McNichols, who played about the same amount of snaps as Chris Rodriguez last week. He had fewer carries, and I think Chris Rodriguez is the better player. But it's not a guarantee that,
it's not.
All the work goes to Chris Rodriguez, whereas the backup to Kamara is clearly Kendre Miller.
Miller at 26% of snaps. Jamal Williams barely on the field, 7% of snaps. But they're not going to move the football. We've been here before with the backup quarterbacks.
That's the issue.
Yeah.
So I would go Rodriguez in that one. And Juwan Johnson, dart throw at tight end, will be a friend to the bad quarterback, but it's terrifying, and I would rather play Zach Ertz.
His receiving yards line is 32.5. So, and you don't expect a touchdown. So what are you saying? Like, you're going to get 3 points? No, thank you.
All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back with some more matchups. Gentlemen, prepare for this one. Prepare for the madness that is the Baltimore Ravens at 8-5, taking on the New York Football Giants, who are 2-11, and the Baltimore Ravens on the DK Sportsbook. 16-point favorites, the over-under 42.5, which means the Ravens are projected for nearly 30 points and the Giants with 13.
May you have Derrick Henry and may you not face Derrick Henry. His DK rushing yardage line is 2,020.5 yards for this game.
I mean,
it is. We have the actual line, Jay. Do you know what it is?
I'm looking at it now.
Okay.
It's a perfect line. This is what I would want the line set at. It is very rare to see a triple-digit line, but he's at a 100.5. So it's like, is he going to get 100 yards? I mean, the answer is yes, but like,
yeah, I mean, he really should. We did just come off of a disappointing Baltimore loss where Lamar, he talked extensively about the fact that he needed to run the football more.
Yeah, Mama
gave him
the business.
Chewed him out, but how much work do you got to do here? I mean, the Giants are going to start Tommy DeVito. The Baltimore defense, which shout out to the listener league out there. You let me sign them for $1.
Oh, man. Losers.
For the playoff matchup. Thank you. And, yeah, I mean, this is it's the 6th time in 32 years that you have a 16-point road favorite. There just there's no math equation to get a solution for the Giants, right? There's no solution. It doesn't matter what you do. There's not a solution. It's not Tyrone Tracy's not going to lead them to victory. Malik Neighbors can't do enough. DeVito, good luck. So
Are you playing Malik?
I mean, it wasn't good with DeVito's start. When was DeVito's? I mean, he's going to have 10 targets. Malik Neighbors will have 10 targets. Now, what does that mean? Probably means 5 for 57 and no touchdowns.
Malik or Calvin Ridley?
Oh, that's a really interesting
I'll take
one.
Ridley. Ridley's receiving line is higher.
Malik or Marv?
I'll take Marv at
plays
home
the
against New
Patriots.
England. Yeah.
Yeah, that's an easy Marv for me.
All right.
No, it's not. It would probably get people to unfollow the show if we talk about the Giants anymore.
Okay.
But Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, they're in. Zay Flowers is in. Mark Andrews is in. And, do your work early, Baltimore.
If Derrick Henry has any chance to catch Saquon Barkley to be the rushing leader this year, this is the game where he catches up.
Yeah, I mean, the Giants' defense is 30th against the run over the last 6 weeks. And that's against other running backs not named Derrick Henry. So, I'd be a little bit worried about counting on Zay Flowers.
Yeah,
I agree.
Okay. He's a tougher start.
He is actually his last 4 games, wide receiver 50, 31, 33, and 40. And this is a game where if Henry is the recipient of the first 2 touchdowns and there's a defensive play, Zay Flowers is not necessary.
You will be deleted.
Yeah, and you say, okay, Lamar's going to throw at least 1 touchdown, maybe 2, but you've got other options. Mark Andrews is the goal line touchdown machine. You could have it go to Likely.
Bateman.
Rashad Bateman is a full participant in practice. Flowers is dicey. We're having to decide in our double flex between Flowers and Travis Kelce, and I don't know which one is worse, but I'm scared of both.
Yeah, that's a tough decision, those two. Flowers and Travis. Are you favored?
It's pretty heads up.
I don't. Yeah, I feel like your odds of a lower game are probably a little bit higher with Flowers.
I agree. I lean towards Kelce right now.
The Cowboys are 5-8. They take on the 3-10 Carolina Panthers, who are doing the best job of almost winning.
Yeah, but what's the line?
Carolina -3 on
Let's
the DK
go, Bryce!
Sportsbook.
Come on, baby.
Over-under's 43. The books.
Almost win.
He's favored.
Come on, Bryce. Almost win.
Yeah, the books like the way the Panthers are playing football right now. This is the first time they have been favored since drafting Bryce Young.
That's awesome. Who did you pick in this matchup?
I haven't made
You
the
haven't done it
decision
yet?
yet. No.
I did not pick Bryce.
Oh, okay. Yeah, Dallas on the road though. Cooper Rush.
Probably because of Rico Dowdle. I get it, Jay.
No,
I get it.
Unstoppable.
This one is a battle of 2 bad rush defenses. I love Chuba Hubbard. I mean, I think Chuba Hubbard is so set up. He's a great running back.
So you like the guy who's really good, got a huge contract extension, has been dominating all year, and has absolutely no one in the backfield to take touches?
Yeah, I mean, if he doesn't get, he had 30 opportunities last week, 31 last week.
31. You're going to kill the man.
You paid him the money to handle 31 opportunities. It's time to get it done, and it's very clearly Thielen in the passing game. Leggett has made mistakes. He also eats raccoons. He eats raccoons.
He hunts them, he kills them, he skins them, he cooks them, he eats them.
That's a
all
quote.
of that. That's
a quote.
Yeah,
I didn't know that
quote.
you did that. I mean, I didn't know you could do that, but
Well,
I mean, I guess I knew you could.
Yeah.
You can eat anything.
Well, but
I didn't know.
I didn't
people
know it was.
did.
I didn't know it was legal. You know what I mean? Like
Are there food? There's like
So it's
animals you can't
trash
eat.
panda. You know that.
Yeah, well, right, but like you can't just go out and kill any animal you want and skin it and eat it.
If they don't catch you, you can.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I feel like this was a revelation that Leggett revealed on the Amon-Ra St. Brown and his brother podcast.
Yeah, Equanimous.
Equanimous.
They were
like, poor EQ.
Well, I was actually just trying to remember. There's got to be a name for the podcast that isn't that.
Probably.
I don't think I've ever heard the name of their podcast.
Like, is it like the St. Brown Town podcast?
It is the St. Brown podcast.
Oh, see, Brown Town is probably not a good one to go.
No,
with.
yeah.
That's going to happen.
But Brown Town, copyright.
Liget is. I love that guy.
I do think that he is.
I want him to play better though.
Yeah, he's in consideration for a flex, but Adam Thielen is the leading target. When I went back and watched all the Bryce snaps, and Bryce looked good, he looked so much more in sync with Adam Thielen. There was a lot of rookie mistakes from Liget, including not catching the game-winning touchdown.
Lamb was heavily involved last week. You're always wincing the way he winces when he goes down on that shoulder, but should be fine.
Yeah, it's one of those things where he's talked about practicing different ways to fall and get tackled and all that, and then when he has the ball in his hands, it all goes away, and he's like, "Watch this!" And he just it's muscle memory from whatever 25 years, however old he is, of just dominating defenders and breaking tackles. He won't go down. Like, what I want him to do is catch the ball, go down. Go get open, catch the ball, get down. Go play, some Tyler Lockett football.
They gave him he had a rush attempt, and it was a jet sweep. Am I remembering
Yep,
that right?
You are.
What are they doing? What? I don't care how much I want to win the football game. I'm not running CeeDee Lamb with a bum shoulder on a jet sweep. It's nonsense.
Wouldn't it be great if they just run him straight out of bounds, just like a straight line out of bounds to keep him safe? He doesn't turn it upfield. Yeah, I mean, Jake Ferguson, by the way, outsnapped the Schoon man, 6 targets last week. He's a risky play, but he's in play.
CeeDee Lamb is the wide receiver 5 on the season. That is mind-blowing.
It doesn't feel like it.
It does not feel like that. And I mean, that's just a testament to how great he is, because he is fully injured and has no quarterback.
It feels like that because he's only boomed one time. Like, in the meantime, you have Jamar Chase, who it's basically every game right now. But week 8 against the 49ers, CD was 13 for 146 and 2. But other than that, it's just been like good top 20 finishes.
Yeah, just solid. A lot of targets.
Yeah.
Just stay healthy, CD.
Seriously.
All right, the New York Jets, who are 3-10, take on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 3-10. The DraftKings Sportsbook line is New York -3. The over-under is 40.5 here. That's not a lot. And so where's the fantasy value in this game? I mean, Adams was heavily involved last week.
I think
he
there
feels
still is some.
he feels really safe in this game.
This game is Garrett and Devontae are in. Adams' reception line's at 6.5. That's pretty wild.
Great.
And then Brian Thomas Jr. He's in for me. The matchup is fine.
You're hungry for more guy.
Yeah, and he's been dominating the targets and dominating the offense. Mac Jones is doing probably the correct thing for him on this team of like, save me elite wide receiver. And other than that, though, they're on the Jacksonville side, I'm not messing around with the running backs like ETN. ETN finally looked okay in that matchup last week, and then Bigsby had 18 carries. So it's like I'm out on that. The only hard decision for me in this game, it's the Jets running backs. Brees did not practice on Wednesday, but Braylon Allen, Isaiah Davis, they split. Davis looked better on the field, in my opinion. So where are you? How are you handling those two guys?
I think both.
That's a tough one.
I expect it to be near a 50-50 split if Brees is out, and I think both are fine starts. You have, over the last 6 weeks, the Jaguars are 32nd in fantasy points given up to the running backs. So I am actually fine playing either one, not both together. But if
both of those they're a tier above the McLaughlin,
yes,
Chris Rodriguez range.
Yeah, I would play. Chris Rodriguez is I think near that range.
Mike, do you agree?
I'd play the Jets guys over Rodriguez, both of them.
what other discussions are there for this game? The running back room and the Jacksonville side that has been almost intentionally deleted from our minds?
Yeah, it's tough because there is some value there. Mike brought it up. Tank Bigsby had 18 carries. Travis Etienne looked okay and is usually involved in the passing game. They're
not going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, they're low-level options that can be started. I would start them over McLaughlin. McLaughlin could go out and be the starter, or he could do nothing.
Yes, I would start them over McLaughlin.
Well,
I mean, fine, you did it. You beat me into accepting I have players that I would play the Jags over.
I'm starting McLaughlin right now.
I know, and it's disgusting.
I know.
Our teams were like the exact same thing all year long, except people didn't score points against you.
What he's saying is that you look like this dragon.
What's the name again?
King Ghidorah.
Ghidorah.
Yeah.
He's back.
There's King Ghidorah.
Can you just cut out the head and put it onto Jason
I feel like
for the rest of the show?
I feel like when you put this picture up, it looks like that's me and the three of us. And
yeah, but we know
to be clear,
who it is.
it's Jason.
All right, pull it down. All right, enough of that game, please.
Okay. I see Jason just let go of Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough in the streets.
You're gonna lose by a lot. Miami is 6-7. Houston's 8-5. The DraftKings Sportsbook line is Houston -3. The over/under is 47. I think this is a fun game. Houston's coming off the bye, but I mean, who don't you start in this game? I mean, there's so many options on both sides where, Tua's been playing great. Achane and Mixon are in. Tyreek, Nico, Waddle, whose receiving line's at 57.5. Play him. Jonnu Smith, you got to play him. He's a must-play tight end. He's number 1 in total fantasy points since week 7. I was telling Jason the other day, I thought I had my tight end spot fixed on my League of Record team because I had the combo of Cade Otton, who was on fire, and Taysom Hill. So I gave Jonnu Smith away. This was like 4 weeks ago. I really wish I had Jonnu Smith back. So things change quickly, but that's what won championships last year. Ingram, Njoku, they were key cogs. They weren't necessarily, a star the entire year. It's a small window you need for them to perform. So the real question would be somebody like, on the fringes here, like a Tank Dell or even C.J. Stroud. I don't know if people are making those decisions.
I wasn't listening to you.
Yeah,
if
the waivers
ran, and I've got to see who my savior is.
I knew for a fact Chris Rodriguez was going to slide into your pickups, and he's now on your team.
As is Keon Coleman, who was dropped yesterday.
Their player, Jason, I mentioned there were guys on the waiver wire that I thought, how are you not picking them up? Chris Rodriguez is at the top of that list.
Well, he got picked up. Now, let me ask you this.
Oh,
McLaughlin.
Boy. Oh, boy.
Stop it. Stop it.
Or Chris
man.
Stop it. Talking about the
number 2.
I could really use Brees to be active.
We're talking about
please.
the Texans here.
All right.
Well, maybe we're not. I mean, Tank Dell was the name I brought up, and C.J. Stroud, and whether either one is interesting to you in a game that has the potential, at home in Houston, off the bye week, with them favored, with a high over-under, it does seem like there's some opportunity there for somebody beyond Nico Collins to have a game.
There should be, but we are heading into the 14th game of the season for the Houston Texans, and we have been saying that for 13 weeks, and
they've hit the over 4 times. The Texans games have hit the over 4 times, and we are heading into week 15.
It's 100%. It could happen for Tank Dell or someone else on the Houston Texans, but at this point of the season, I am not willing to do it at all. It's Nico, Joe Mixon, and Logger. I'm saying Stroud is out. Stroud's out for me. Give me Kyler.
The Colts are 6-7. They're back off the bye. Anthony Richardson and company going to Denver, Mile High. They're 8-5. Denver's 4-point favorites. The over/under is 44. When we last saw Anthony Richardson, it was a lot of talk about the Detroit matchup where he really struggled. Then he gets to play New England, had a good game, played the Jets and had a good game. This is not a good matchup on the road against Denver.
No.
That's I think point 1 of this conversation. Denver in the fight for playoff seeding. as is Indianapolis, trying to fight for their division. But I guess I get really nervous about Richardson in week 1 of the playoffs against the Denver defense that is number 2 against quarterbacks in the last 6 weeks. I would, you just talked about his Stroud off the table. Would you go Richardson just because of the running prowess over Stroud, even with the bad matchup?
I would.
Yeah. Oh gosh, that's tough. We did just see the shootout with Jameis in Denver, and actually over the last 6 games, the Denver secondary is allowing the most passing yards per game. It's not like they're not allowing huge fantasy points, but some yards are there, and usually yards turn into touchdown opportunities.
Stroud is rarely getting to 15 fantasy points.
I'd go Richardson over Stroud. But don't look away.
It's Joe Mixon's team, so Anthony Richardson has the boom bust potential. Tough matchup. I'm not wanting to play him, but
you'd certainly play Bo Nix over him.
Yeah.
So we're at the point now with the running back room in Denver. 1, it's the worst thing to talk about every week. 2, we're at the point now where head coach Sean Payton is talking about Marvin Mims in an active way about using him in the backfield because of how kind of inept and disjointed the Williams, Estime, McLaughlin, Mims situation is.
Yeah, I mean, the Mims in the backfield is not a huge thing. That he was saying that he wishes he thought of it earlier because he's been doing it the last month. He's been giving Mims usually about 3 carries a week. So I don't think that factors in too much. The question here is just you don't know who it's going to be. They will do a hot hand. We saw that the last game with McLaughlin when he had 14 carries and 2 targets.
You want to hear something crazy about that game?
Yeah.
That was his highest carry count on the year by far.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many snaps he played?
I do.
36% of snaps. So when he was on the field, they gave it to him, but there was no snap count number that was different.
Yeah, and he still didn't score 10 fantasy points.
He didn't? No, 8.9.
So, I mean, this is not, I don't want to play any Broncos running back. The matchup is good, and if I had to order them, I would put McLaughlin because he was the last one we saw get the work. I would put him first, but I don't want to play any of them.
It's weird because this is a situation where we like they have a 24-point implied total. They're favored. They're at home. We like Bo Nix. And yet out of the discussion, there's only one player you play.
Yep.
It's Cortland Sutton.
Mm-hmm.
You just play Cortland Sutton. He's got a receiving line of 70.5 and log out. And then on the other side, for goodness sakes, I mean, just get on your knees and pray.
Yeah. What's your confidence for Johnny Taylor?
It's not that. I mean,
Charbonne zone or Johnny Taylor
with no Ken Walker as Charbonne zone.
Yeah, I would agree.
James Cook against Detroit or Johnny Taylor?
James Cook.
Yeah, probably
Okay.
James Cook. I
All
mean,
right.
25 carries for Taylor last week.
And James Cook was the
2 weeks
Garendo
ago.
line, so Isaac Garendo.
Yeah, Garendo.
I would go Garendo as well.
Here's where I would play Taylor over those guys, and it would be if I'm a heavy favorite. Because I think the total workload for Taylor will be there. His efficiency might not. His touchdowns might not. But that's where I'd go.
Yeah, it's just a matter of whether he has the opportunity to get the touchdown or, is he going to be vultured at the goal line? It's a very tough defense. We've seen him last week, 25 carries, had an awesome game, 17 fantasy points and half PPR. A couple weeks before that, 24 carries. That's awesome. 6 fantasy points. If you're playing against a good defense, the floor isn't as high as you think, and the passing work just isn't there with Anthony Richardson.
We did get an update from Mary Kay Cabot on X. David Njoku likely to sit.
Oh, come on, man.
Can we get
Breece Hall.
Can we zoom in on Jason here? Come on.
It's just not fair. It's like every week I lose more guys. You want to know how I'm in this spot where I'm
I didn't
talking
mean
about
the
McLaughlin?
spotlight. I just wanted the
just go to
solo
his
cam so
camera.
people could see his face.
It's just
Weirdos.
So it's like whoever I have gets injured. Ugh. But my defense has been great, so watch out, Jeremy.
Any confidence with any wideout?
Well, I'm curious about Josh Downs. He was a limited participant prior to the bye week. They said that they would expect his injury that he wouldn't be playing this week, that he might miss the week following the bye week. But, I mean, because they were on bye, there was no new information. If he's feeling good and practicing, I'm curious if he was active, what your confidence level would be, because he's been very good whenever he's been on the field.
I would have almost no confidence.
Okay.
coming off an injury against the number 2 pass D. It would make me nervous.
Yeah, that's tough. Well, then let's say he's out. Pittman, are you starting him?
No.
Okay.
Why he's like a wide receiver 4-ish.
As in not the wide receiver 4.
No.
More like in the 40s.
Yes.
Gotcha. There you go. It's an uphill battle. All right, it's Parlay Partay time, Jason. Hand out the crowns. You're very good at handing them out.
Yeah.
Also, did you
did you lower your chair there?
Your chair go down, Jay?
How did that happen?
Yeah, my foot hit it.
Okay. Let's get the crowns on. Mike, these are already pre-fit for us from last week.
Yeah, it's on size XXL.
Look at the guy in the middle. Put up the King Ghidorah again. Let's there he is. There it is. Jason with the tongue hanging out.
Yeah.
Do you want to kick us off, Jay, or do you want the real men
Well,
to
we
go?
should reflect, right? I mean,
oh, yeah, of
Trey
course.
McBride, 60-plus receiving yards.
Took him 14 targets to barely get there.
He got there, and then Mike, you had Mike Evans over 60 yards.
Yeah,
he just barely snuck in
he
there,
did.
too.
Yeah, but my guy just, when you talk about barely didn't get there, he had 2 receptions. Aaron Jones was 2.5. He also caught a screen pass that was scored as a rush, as a down
Yeah,
the line of
I
scrimmage.
watched it. I watched it.
I thought I hit.
Yeah.
And so it was scored as a rushing attempt. He caught 3 balls, but 1 did not count as a reception. I'll kick us off this week. I'm going to go not with a running back over. I'm going to go with Jamison Williams. His reception line is 3.5. He is in this crazy 54-point Buffalo-Detroit Lions game that the expectation is monstrous amounts of points in this game. He's been over this line 4 straight games. I mean, his targets have been great, and I just think if they're going to be scoring back and forth, 3.5. His targets the last 4 weeks 6, 7, 7, 8. You know that's a low line to me in a game with a 54.5 point over under.
Give me Chase Brown, the key cog of the Cincinnati offense, 25-plus receiving yards against Tennessee. He's cleared that mark in 5 straight, and he looks great in the passing game. So Chase Brown, 25-plus, lock it in.
I'm going Devontae Adams against the Jacksonville Jaguars with 60-plus receiving yards. He's hit that in 4 of his last 5. The targets have been increasing. Like it was Garrett for a while when Adams first got there, but now it seems like the mojo is it's stirring. It's mixing back up for Rodgers and Devontae Adams. So I'll take 60 yards.
I like it. That was Fantasy Forecast presented by DraftKings Pick 6. Download the new DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use the code BALLERS. That's the code BALLERS for new customers to play $5 and get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Jason, one more time. Can I get the King Ghidorah for us? Can we give the people?
With the wig, it's
it's a special,
it's over the top.
a
now.
special one to watch on YouTube today. More matchups in the Fantasy Face-Off tomorrow. That'll do it for today's show. Enjoy the football game tonight. Good luck getting your week off to a hot start. None of this Jaden Reed Thursday night stuff. We want fantasy points, and we want them now.
Goodbye.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 and over. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. One per new customer. Non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits expire in 6 months. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.draftkings.com/promos.